Be honest. Did you have a good breakfast this morning? They always tell us breakfast is the most important meal of the day. Today, we'll see if that's really true, and if so, why. Hi there, happy Monday. I'm Jeff, and this is Plain English, where we help you upgrade your English with stories about current events and trending topics. I'm feeling nice and energized today. I'm coming off a couple of days off. I was just at the beach for 3 nights. It was so nice, my first consecutive days off since the new year, and to be honest, I really needed it. I'm also feeling energized because I just had a full breakfast. 2 eggs, egg whites, an orange, whole grain toast, and a glass of low-fat milk. Now that's one of my go-to breakfasts. I'll tell you about the other one here in a few minutes. But today's Plain English story is all about breakfast. The question is, why is it considered so important? And do you really have to have a meal in the morning? Like all Plain English episodes, you'll have the chance to learn some new words and, of course, get practice thinking in your new language. And if you want to take the next step with us, make faster progress, then check out the full episode resources online at plainenglish.com/784. That is thanks to JR, the producer. He's in charge of all that. plainenglish.com/784. Before we start today's story, I'd just like to remind you that the podcast is just one part of how we can help you upgrade your English skills. At plainenglish.com, you can make faster progress with active learning strategies. You can take quizzes, do activities, listen to the fast version of the audio, watch video workshops, practice what you learn, and even join a live call with JR and me. It's all about helping you build your skills to become a better, more confident English speaker. Sound good? Go to plainenglish.com to start your free 14-day trial today. Now, let's jump into today's story. Breakfast is the most important meal of the day. How many times have you heard that? I've heard it many, many more times than I can count. But a lot of people don't get a healthy breakfast. Time is probably the biggest reason. If you're getting kids to school and yourself to work, then there isn't much time to prepare a meal. Some people just aren't hungry first thing in the morning, so they prefer to wait until lunch. Some people follow intermittent fasting. One way to do that is to eat only in an 8-hour window and fast for the other 16 hours a day. And that often means skipping breakfast. Coffee is a popular morning beverage, and it's also an appetite suppressant. If you have coffee in the mornings, you might not feel like eating, or you might just want something small. Here's a surprising reason some people skip breakfast. They just don't like traditional breakfast foods. What are you supposed to do if you don't like eggs, or if you don't want to consume pastries or sugary cereals? So there are a lot of reasons to skip breakfast. But what about that old advice that it's the most important meal of the day? Many, certainly not all, but many nutritionists are starting to back off that advice. Every meal counts. What you put in your body throughout the day matters more than what you call a meal or what time you have it, nutritionists are starting to say. Second, everyone is different. While the traditional advice to eat breakfast might work for most people, it won't work for everyone. The benefits of a morning meal are not so large that you should force feed yourself when you don't want to eat. A common piece of advice is that eating breakfast kickstarts your metabolism. But recent studies show that having or skipping breakfast in and of itself does not affect your metabolism as much as people previously thought. So is that it? Case closed? You certainly have my permission to skip breakfast if that truly works for you. But there are some good reasons to eat in the morning, even if you think you're not a breakfast person. If you're not hungry in the morning, think about why that might be. If it's because you eat late at night, then you might consider shifting your meals so that you start earlier and end earlier. Eating during daylight hours can help with overall metabolism and energy levels. Try that for a week and see if your appetite comes back in the morning. If you're not hungry because you drink coffee, then you might be causing problems later in your day. Coffee can suppress your appetite, but you might feel hungrier than ever after your first cup or two, and you might feel famished when you finally do get hungry. If this happens to you, then you can have a small breakfast before your coffee to even out your food intake. Eating earlier in the day can also support your brain. Having a morning meal can improve your memory, concentration, and overall alertness. This is especially true for children and adolescents. That old advice to eat a big breakfast before a test is valid after all. But this is also true for adults. If you feel sluggish or distracted in the mornings, eating earlier might help you focus and feel more alert. Breakfast can also be a chance to get nutrients that you don't commonly get in other parts of your day. Many people associate certain foods with the morning, and if they don't eat in the morning, they don't get certain nutrients. I'm talking about calcium in milk or fiber in fruit and healthy cereal, for example. If you just don't like breakfast food, try eating whatever food you do like. We in the West often think of eggs, yogurt, cheese, and bread when we think of breakfast. But if that's not the food you like, then microwave something from the night before. There's no rule saying you can't eat spaghetti and meatballs, or even a salad with chicken for breakfast. Finally, breakfast is an opportunity to get usable protein. Protein is necessary to build and maintain muscles, and most people get enough of it in the day. But your body can't store protein to use later, so it's important to spread your protein intake throughout the day. If you skip breakfast, you miss a window for your body to get and use valuable protein. But if all this doesn't work for you, if you're unconvinced, if you get your fiber and nutrients in other parts of your day, if you just don't like to eat in the morning, then relax. Not everyone has to follow the same patterns as everyone else. I am a creature of habit. That means I like to do the same things over and over. And when I was a kid, I got into this habit of having the same thing for breakfast every single day, 7 days a week, until I got tired of it. And then I'd change it up. I still do the same thing. Today, I switch between 2 different breakfasts. One is eggs with fruit and whole grain toast. The other is oatmeal with frozen berries and a scoop of yogurt on top. But as I did all this breakfast research, I realized I really should be switching my meals up just to get a wider variety of nutrients. We are going to do a live call about this topic. That is going to be the live call on June 21st, 2025. So if you're a Plus member, make plans to join us. That's this coming Saturday morning in the Americas, afternoon in Europe, evening in Asia. Now, if you're not a Plus member, it's okay. You can still join us for the live calls. Sign up for a free trial at plainenglish.com, and you'll have access to all the calls scheduled during your free trial. So you can get on the call, meet me, meet JR, meet other Plain English members, and practice talking about topics in English. We do 3 calls a month, so there are plenty of opportunities to get some practice speaking in a low-pressure environment. Again, if you're not yet a member, sign up at plainenglish.com today. That is all for today's episode. This was number 784. So the full story, the exercises, the transcripts, the translations, all that stuff is available at plainenglish.com/784. Thank you, JR. On Thursday, we will be back and we will be talking about the hottest comedian in the United States right now. And there's one thing that makes his style unique. I can't wait to tell you about it. That's coming up on Thursday. See you then. Listen up if you speak Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, or Turkish. One of the most frustrating things about listening and reading in a second language is being confused by unfamiliar words or phrases. When you listen to plain English, or when you read the transcript, you probably encounter some words you don't know. When that happens, you have a few options. You can stop the audio, go look up the definition, then return to the episode, find your place, and press play again, but that's exhausting. Or you can just skip it and be confused. That's no fun either. But what if you could see the translation of the word into your language instantly without having to stop the audio, without having to look anything up? Well, you can at plainenglish.com. For each episode, we translate about 100 words and phrases from English to 9 languages: Spanish, Portuguese, Chinese, German, French, Italian, Japanese, Polish, and Turkish. And we highlight those words in blue. All you have to do is hover your mouse over the highlighted word, and you'll see the translation instantly. It works great on mobile too. It really makes listening a lot more satisfying, and it's a great way to expand your vocabulary in English. The best way to see these translations is to sign up for a free 14-day trial at plainenglish.com. During your trial, you can read as many transcripts as you like, all with the translations into your language. So sign up for your free trial today at plainenglish.com.